Warning. Pregnant women, the elderly, and children under 16 should avoid prolonged exposure to Dirt Diggler. Dirt Diggler may suddenly accelerate to dangerous speeds. Dirt Diggler has high gluten content and is not kosher, halal, or vegan safe. Do not ingest Dirt Diggler, as Dirt Diggler is for external use only. Discontinue listening to Dirt Diggler if any of the following occurs: itching, vertigo, dizziness, discoloration of urine, tingling in extremities, loss of balance or coordination, slurred speech, temporary blindness, profuse sweating, heart palpitations, increased use of profanity. If listening to Dirt Diggler gives you an erection lasting longer than 4 hours, you're welcome. Listening to Dirt Diggler may lead to unplanned pregnancies. If Dirt Diggler begins to smoke, get away immediately. Seek shelter and cover head. Dirt Diggler may stick to certain types of skin. When not in use, Dirt Diggler should be returned to a special container and kept under refrigeration. The ingredients of Dirt Diggler include, but are not limited to, a glowing substance which fell to the earth, presumably from outer space, and bad memories. Do not taunt Dirt Diggler. Dirt Diggler does not come with a lifetime guarantee. Dirt Diggler. Enjoy the show.
Extra heat.
All right, what's going on? It's the Dirt Diggler, the dirtiest Diggler to ever Diggler for Dirt Diggler, and of course I have Ken from Connecticut, who I guess you want to be called the Dork, so it's Dirt and the Dork, or how you want to do this?
I guess if that's what if we're gonna roll with that, let's do
it.
I
don't know. Hey, listeners, what do you think of it being Dirt Diggler Shitty Sports Show with Dirt and the Dork? What do you think? Like, let me know. Let us know what you think of that name. And if we get some feedback that goes, yeah, I think Ken's a bit of a dork, let's go with that. Then I'm like, all right, cool. I personally think Ken is more of a nerd or a geek than that of a dork, because he doesn't have the social awkwardness at the level the dork should have. To be a true dork.
You know what? I'll agree with you. I looked at the Venn diagram.
Yeah, right. There's some overlap, but it's not.
Yeah.
Like, he's not in
maybe a dweeb.
No. Dweeb's considered to be like
it's like that perfect center of the vent.
Well, no, see, the dweeb doesn't defend himself, right? The dweeb just takes abuse, right? The dweeb takes abuse, right? The nerd is someone who's knowledgeable. The geek is someone who's really into something, right? Like, you could be a comic book geek, you could be a football geek, a dork is someone who's a bit awkward, but a dweeb is like any one of those things, but doesn't have the ability, desire, confidence to defend themselves from those who would be bullies. Would be a bit of a dweeb, right? So we're talking like, what, 90s kid schoolyard slander here. So that's...
Yeah, I know. I just thought that Dirt and the Dork flowed better.
It does flow, but tell you what, look, I'll tell you what. Listeners, why don't you send me, if you like Dirt and the Dork, let us know. If you think you have a suggestion, like, hey, Dirt, I think you should call Ken this, then all right, we'll consider it, because we like to get some feedback from the listeners, and this is a work in progress. Forever, the show is not ever really static. We're always open to changes to the format to make the listening that much more enjoyable, because at the end of the day, we're here for your pleasure.
That's right.
All right, so on today's schedule on Dirt Diggler Shitty Sports Show, which once again, welcome, we have NBA free agent madness. Phil Jackson is finally fired. Chris Paul went to Houston, which is interesting. Manny Pacquiao got robbed in Australia. And we're going to do the penultimate Wire Division Sucks for the NFC Beast / Least, but mostly East. The Beer of the Week. And, of course, our shitty, indefensible hot takes of the week. So, what's good about the hot take of the week nowadays is Ken has his own shitty hot take on top of my shitty hot take. So you get 2 shitty hot takes for the price of 1 shitty hot take.
We're all about delivering value.
We are all about value here in Dirt Diggler Shitty Sports Show. Value for your time here. I mean, you don't want to tune into Stephen A. Smith and then turn the channel to Skip Bayless to get your hot takes. You can get them all right here, and they're equally shitty and indefensible.
Equally shitty. I mean, come on.
Oh, my God. Fucking
yours is terrible. I'm going to tell you that right now.
That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to make shitty takes. I'm here to make fun of things that shouldn't be made fun of, and to also have shitty takes.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. So, all right. So, sliding right in, right? So, recent moves in free agency, and Ken is really the guy when it comes to the basketball. But there has been a hell of a lot of movement, and it's been interesting because it starts to further lean toward the West, in a certain way. But we had Paul George, who went to
OKC for a bag of basketballs.
For a bag of basketball, some of which were the rubber ones that you remember, the rubber ones.
Pacer fans, you have a legitimate reason. You have a legitimate beef with your franchise. They got robbed. I don't know why they didn't do a deal with Boston. Boston was willing to trade the farm, but they were not willing to give up the Brooklyn pick for next year or the Laker pick if the Lakers finish 2 through 5 in the draft lottery next year. If they fall into lottery, then they would get Sacramento's pick in 19, which, I mean, that could also be a pretty high pick. But, they wanted both picks, I think.
That's all right. So, oh my God, Pacers, fucking Pacer fans.
Well, I mean, the Pacers front office, it has to be, should have been happy with one of those picks.
So yeah, here's the thing. So you walk away from the table with Boston giving you almost everything you want, right? Giving you almost everything you want. You walk away from the table, and then you deal with OKC, and you get shit back. You get shit back, right? So you trade a guy on his last year for another guy on his last year.
Yeah, and Domantas Sabonis, I believe it was. Okay, neither one of those guys even comes close to Paul George's level.
No.
Nope, draft picks were included in the deal.
Nope.
I get that you don't want to give up too much because Paul George is going to be a Laker in 2018, but at the same time, you have to get at least some future value for a star of Paul George's level.
So this was a very Jets-esque trade. Like it was one side. Like early Browns.
This is the dumbest trade I've seen this week.
It's bad. Like it's bad. Now next week always holds future a possibility with being an even dumber trade. But it's hard to beat that terrible trade. That's a.
I thought
trade.
the Boogie trade was bad.
Boogie trade was bad, but this trade, fuck. So
yeah. Speaking of trades, though.
Yeah, well, no. Let's talk about the conference imbalance that this trade leads to, right? So ESPN had a very interesting graphic about the conferences here. So you have the top 15 players in the NBA, right? And you're like, okay, so you have 15 of the no shit. These are your superstars, and 14 of them reside in the Western Conference, and only one resides in the East. And you all know who that fucking one is. It's LeBron. Like, don't be like, well, I wonder who it is. It's LeBron. If you thought it was Carmelo Bolton, you're wrong. It is not Carmelo Bolton. It is LeBron James. LeBron James is the only top 15 talent in the East, which is crazy because he's probably number one in all respect. And if he's not,
he's right there.
He's the best player. Like, as much as I like Steph Curry and Durant and all them, like, without a doubt, like, LeBron is the guy right now, period. There is no one who is really going to take him. It is a team effort. Like, you have to beat LeBron the same way the Pistons had to beat the Bulls back in the 80s and 90s. Like, it took the team.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like LeBron James, the impact he has on a game, for me, is it comparable to a Bill Russell or
crazy.
A Wilt Chamberlain?
It is crazy, right? But he's the only one in the East now. So what this trade does is it was guaranteed before, but now it super assures that the Cavaliers will be in the finals coming up because there really isn't any players left to contend with him. Like,
unless Danny Ainge pulls something out of his ass tonight.
Danny Ainge would need to trade for like 2/3 of the damn Warriors roster to be able to compete
and I don't see it happening
right now.
I mean, Gordon Hayward is not going to get you over the top.
He's not.
No, I mean, like, who else can you get?
The East is a done deal until they start drafting better. Bottom line, the East is a done deal until they start winning at the draft and until they can retain their talent. As long as players can be drafted in the East and be traded or flee to the West is always going to be stacked, which is crazy because if you are a dominant player, why wouldn't you want to? Is LeBron so fucking scary that you would run the gauntlet through the West in order to avoid him or just to see him in the finals? Because honestly, I'd much rather catch him early than have to see him at the end. I mean, he's all warmed up. They're in playoff form. It's the finals. I don't want to see LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? The West is a crucible. It's crazy. It's strong. It has just gotten stronger in the offseason. It's totally imbalanced, and something needs to happen.
Yeah, like the Western Conference in the NBA and going into 2017-18, I think I touched on this last week. It reminds me of the NFC in the 80s and 90s where they won 13 straight Super Bowls.
Yeah, it's bad. The West is going to be like that. But, these trades don't help. When you have the Pacers making, and this is a foolish trade. You walked away from a better deal, took less, and then you shifted more talent out of your conference, which, if you think big scheme, this is bad because you need some level, and what the NBA is lacking right now is some level of parity with how the teams are built. I mean, parity is all right. Parity can make for some boring fucking games. It can make for some great games. But when you have 2 teams, 3 teams that are absolutely the cream of the crop and there's no one close, it makes for shitty seasons. So you can count on Golden State to rack off 70 wins just about. You can count on Cleveland probably getting close to that, and they're going to moonwalk to the finals and play for the 4th time.
Yeah.
That's going to be what it is. And so we're going to know how it plays out. You're going to say, oh, well, this is what they got to do to beat LeBron. This is how they beat Steph Curry. This is what you got to do with Durant. I mean, it's like one of those shows from back in the day where the ending, it always wrapped up nicely within 30 minutes of the, and ended cleanly. Like there was no repercussions in the next episode.
And before the serialized nature of modern television.
Yeah. Back, when you knew how it was going to end.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's how it's looking right now. The NBA is pretty much becoming a sitcom. Yep, fucking boring. So, all right, and then if we talk about these salaries, right? So, Steph Curry just signed a supermax deal for $201 million over 5 years, which is crazy because when you look at the metrics, even with that absurd amount of money coming in, he's underpaid.
What we thought they were.
He's underpaid. LeBron should be clocking $400 million, and Steph should be clocking around $300 or $270 million based on what they produce on an annual basis in the NBA.
But they are what we thought.
You're talking about like the value of a contract over 5 years.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So here we go. Like if you think about it globally, right? You think about it globally. These guys, if you take the salaries of LeBron James, right? Salaries of LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry, how many countries do they surpass their GDP? Like you can with the list of like just if you just add their 1 year salary for all 3 players, right? You can add some money if you want.
I'm sure there's some people in Micronesia that would like that money.
But it's just ridiculous because you have individual players who are making more than what an entire nation is able to produce in the global economy. And I mean, just to frame it, that is absolutely absurd, and the numbers are simply going up. So next year they're going to have to pay him even more.
Yeah.
I mean, unless the NBA starts bleeding revenue, which unless they balance the shit out, it could happen. I mean, I guess one of the narratives. I mean, you have the Lakers Celtics rivalries from way back in the day, right? But let's be real. Like, even though those 2 teams were the dominant franchises of that time, they had to run. You didn't just moonwalk to the finals. You had to beat the Hawks. You had to beat some serious teams to get there. The Pistons. You had to beat
Bulls.
You had to beat legitimate teams to get to the finals. Like you wouldn't just go. You ran the crucible on either conference. In fact,
Right.
the East was super strong back in the day because you had your Jordan, because you had your Bird, because you had Dominique Wilkins.
Before Jordan too, like the Sixers.
Dr. J, Moses Malone,
Yeah.
Mo Cheeks, like they were a dominant team for the early 80s, late 70s. You had to play them. Like you had to play against one of the best rebounding centers to ever play. You had to play against a guy who revolutionized the way basketball was played with Dr. J. You had to play against a deathly efficient point guard. You had to play against a coach who knew how to maximize his players. Like the Sixers were a team.
Yeah.
A serious team. That 1980s championship team was legit. Like they super legit.
The NBA East went through Boston and Philadelphia in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s.
You had to go through those cities. Now, nah. Yeah. I mean, unless you're in the West. But even then, if you're Golden State, you just crush everybody in the way. Like the West, as long as you're not Golden State, you're going to have some games in front of you. But if you're Golden State, if it wasn't for Game 3 in Cleveland, they'd have had a perfect playoff run.
God.
Perfect. And they would have won every game by at least 17 points.
I mean, it's hard for me as a Celtics fan to remain excited. It's like, okay, I know I'll have plans I'll have free time in late May.
Yeah, but the salaries are coming with that. The salaries are coming with that. So, like I said, unless the NBA starts bleeding money because of shit like that, these salaries will continue to inflate.
I mean, the salaries are what really kill me. I mean, do you think Drew Holiday is worth $25 million a year?
I think very few people are worth that amount of money. But if
do
they
you
can
even know who Drew Holiday is?
I heard of his name. What?
Plays for the New Orleans Pelicans.
Oh, okay.
Just signed a 5-year, $126 million deal over the weekend.
Interesting.
Yeah, mid-level player. I would not have thought him to be worth more than $12 million a couple of years ago.
But they got to burn that money. That's the thing.
Yeah, they got to burn the money. They got to spend a minimum amount of money.
If you're the NBA Players Union, you've done your due diligence. You made a great deal.
Now you got NFL players being all like, "I wish we could make that kind of money."
NFL players will never make that amount because there's like 70 people on the fucking roster.
Right.
So like there's 10, 11 on an NBA roster. So
yeah, the NBA is making $5 billion a year. but they're splitting it up between 450 players. The NFL's making $12 billion, and they have to divide that pie up over 1,700 players.
Yeah, so you're not going to.
Yeah.
You're not.
It's a pipe dream.
It's a pipe dream. NFL players will never see that kind of money. But it's nice to think about it, though. Nice to think about it. So
things that nice to think about.
Right. So all right. Picture this, right? Picture a scene, right? So you're in New York. You're in Madison Square Garden, right? You're in James Dolan's office, right? In walks Phil Jackson. And Phil Jackson takes a seat. He sits in front of Dolan. And Dolan looks up from his desk and says, "You're fucking fired." In fact, hold on. Let's get that something about Mary clip in here. And it probably went just like this. And roll clip.
Step into my office.
Why?
Because you're fucking fired.
And boom, that's probably exactly what happened. He probably walked in and goes, "Step into my office, Phil." I was like, "Why? Because you're fucking fired." And he was like, "Oh, let's make this a mutual agreement." Like, no, you got fired.
But triangle offense.
Triangle offense, my ass. You don't have the people.
I think Jim Boeheim just said it the best. Unless you've got Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant,
You're not going to run the offense.
it's the worst offense in history.
Like, the fact that he had two of the most transcendental players or transcendental players ever to suit up playing in his offenses have inflated what it is. Like, all right, so you have the most dominant big man, like physically dominant big man ever to play, right? So we can talk about Bill Russell and Kareem, but like the monster that was Shaquille O'Neal.
The daddy was something.
Look, he was a monster. Like, physically, like those two guys with their frames, Wilt Chamberlain, they are not going to stand toe-to-toe with Shaq. Shaq was simply too goddamn big. Like, for all their grace and ability and their eras,
And their ability to move the pieces around on the floor. They were point guards masquerading as centers.
No
basically.
one is going to physically stand up to Shaq at his prime. No one will ever be. I highly doubt we'll see another player like him ever, because there's only been one.
We'll never see a player who can forcibly dunk so hard that the net retreats into its reclining mode.
Yeah, he broke several backboard. I mean, back in the day, Dawkins used to do it, right? But that was back when they were using like glass, and he would shatter the glass.
Yeah.
Like, Shaquille O'Neal was buckling the entire thing.
I mean, it was ridiculous. He was freakishly strong.
He was fast. So, like I said, physically, those guys are not going to be able to hang with that. Like, I'll even say, like, when Elijah caught O'Neal was still fairly young in his career, so he was able to school him. And he did. He ran a clinic on him.
Old man ran a clinic.
He ran a clinic. But Shaq in his prime, I think Shaq in his prime beats Elijah. I do. Okay, I mean, and that's, look.
It's hard for me to agree with that, but I will.
Elijah a Hall of Famer. Elijah was extremely good at what he did. He had he had the best footwork of any center ever, but the physical dominance of a 360-pound Shaquille O'Neal is simply you can't stop him from where he's going to go.
I remember being excited that a 37-year-old Shaquille O'Neal was going to suit up for the Boston Celtics. And he was, past his prime.
But when you have someone like that, and when you have someone like Kobe Bryant, and when you have someone like Michael Jordan, and a Scottie Pippen, and a Horace Grant, and all these other players, your triangle offense works great. But when
you look like a genius.
When you have an uninterested Carmelo Anthony,
a Kristaps Porzingis,
crap snap Bazingas, you have him. It's you don't have the personnel. Like, these guys are talented. You probably should run a more traditional offense. The triangle's been around for a long time. It can't be broken. Carmelo's not a Jordan. He's not any of those. He's a Carmelo. He doesn't have the presence on both sides of the court to really be even mentioned in the same breath. As a scorer, you can say that he's one of the most prolific scorers that we've seen, but he's not an all-around player like those guys were.
Yeah, I mean, and not only that, the triangle is predicated more on distributing the ball around, whereas Carmelo's throwing up enough bricks to build suburbs in the Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, like Carmelo's a possession guy. He's going to get the ball, and you're never going to see it again.
You better have a good rebounder.
But yes, Phil Jackson got fucking fired.
He's fucking fired.
So the question is now, hold on, since he's gone, does Dolan continue to fuck this team up, or does he do the smart thing, hire somebody, let them run the team while he goes and plays his guitar with his band, stops insulting Charles Oakley, and just being a general douche? Like, stop being a douche. Like, just be an owner. Act like you're a billionaire. Act like a billionaire. How about that? Act like you're a billionaire. And hire somebody who knows what they're doing. Or does Dolan continue to do what Dolan does?
I mean, given the track record of guys like this, and we're going to get into that later on and why your division sucks.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Yeah, well, the owners who act in this way don't learn their lesson. James Dolan will continue to run the Knicks into the ground. But what I'm curious about is he going to trade Carmelo? Or is he going
know.
to keep him as his centerpiece?
Well, here's the thing. Carmelo has to agree to whatever trade hits the table.
Yeah.
So he's got a no-trade clause. You can't just arbitrarily move him because his agent is better than the GM for the Knicks, apparently, back when he signed that contract.
Yeah.
So he was able to make – and that was a re-up, wasn't it? That was like an extension. That was
So Carmelo's been in New York for about 7 or 8 years now.
Yeah. So I don't see him going anywhere. He'll retire in Nick, and they'll continue to
Yeah, I mean, there's been some floating around that he might get traded to Houston if the package is right.
It would be interesting, but honestly, I don't see him –
There's some interest in a 3-way trade with him, George Hill, and whoever from the Rockets.
I don't see him matching. Houston moves the ball too much for Carmelo. Carmelo's once he gets the ball, he's going to shoot.
Yeah, I mean, definitely they move it now that Cliff Paul's brother is in Houston.
Yeah. Cliff Paul's twin brother is in Houston, which is crazy, right?
Oh my God!
So who saw that shit coming, right? Like we knew they were up. Like, all right, so where's Paul and where's Griffin gonna go? And Griffin stayed his sorry ass in Clipper land because he's all about getting paid now. I'm not even mad. Like I'm not even mad.
Do you blame him?
Stack your chips. Get paid.
If you're Blake Griffin and the Los Angeles Clippers are offering you $175 million to stay, you stay.
Here's the thing: I don't think he's worth $175 for 5 years. No.
I don't either.
But with his injury history, he needs to get as much money as he can right now.
Push your chips to the table and cash in.
How many playoff series has he been unavailable for that they really needed him? I know last year they needed him and he was hurt. And it's like I'm not sitting here blaming him like you get hurt, but your career from college on, you've been injury prone. And while I like watching Blake Griffin play, I do. He's very entertaining.
Yeah.
He's exciting to watch. He's really good to watch. I like how he's refined his game, but the guy can't stay in the court.
No.
Right? So that's why I don't think he's worth $175. Like part of being a legend is availability.
Yeah.
Part of being a legend is availability. If you're always there, like Eli Manning is legendary because Eli Manning is literally always there. He's never missed a game.
But yeah, I mean, what this does for Houston is very interesting.
It is because all right. So what happens with Harden now that you got Patrick Beverly out of there? You got a better point guard. But the point guard, this guy, he needs to run the offense. So Harden, his point guard duties end up going to the side, and he goes back to being a true swing man.
Yeah.
He ends up going back to a true shooting guard, small forward role, where he's going to come off of screens and get the ball and do his little step thing and shoot. So it'll be interesting to see how they're going to run it. D'Antoni's the coach down there.
Yeah,
right?
It's going to be a fun offense to watch, and that's why I'm kind of hoping that the Knicks trade him to Houston because I think if they get Carmelo and this kid from China works out with the center, I think Houston could. I don't think they're ready to beat Golden State right away. I think they could challenge. I think they could.
I think if Carmelo rolls into town, they regress. I think their best bet is the best thing that anyone can do is to leave Carmelo.
It's going to be an offensive firepower that you've never seen before. It's
Carmelo,
going to be fun.
If Carmelo could pass, if Carmelo was interested in passing and playing defense, I'd say yes. But he's not interested in either one of those things. Like defense, who the fuck does defense?
D'Antoni never coached defense anyway.
Well, okay, but you have James Harden not playing defense, and then you have Carmelo not playing defense,
and Chris Paul.
Chris Paul plays defense. He plays. He flops, but he plays. Can you imagine the volume of flops in Houston with Chris Paul and Harden? Can you imagine how many?
I mean, come on. I feel like I was watching a UEFA Champions League game.
You know what? I'll tell you what. Those guys that come out with the little squeegees to clean up the sweat every time they flop, those are going to be some in-shape motherfuckers by the end of the season. They're going to be ripped from running around. Like wind sprints, their conditioning, top notch. Top notch.
Top men.
Yep. So, all right. So, moving on to boxing because there was a boxing match apparently, and
Last night,
on ESPN apparently, Pacquiao fought a guy
on free TV.
On free TV because apparently this is what we're doing now, and Pacquiao literally landed 2 times as many punches.
Well, it was supposed to be a Pac-Man showcase,
but we ended up getting a really shitty judgment from the judges. The guy won unanimously. Over Pacquiao, which didn't make any sense because the guy ended up going to the hospital having like every part of his body iced over, and Pacquiao just went to go hang out with his wife.
The only people who had that fight in favor of Jeff Horn were the judges.
Yeah. So the announcer actually told Horn, like, you lost that fight. And he I think he knows. Like, you've got to know, like, my face got beaten by this guy for the entire match, and I won on a decision in my country because he's Australian. So it's bullshit. Now,
and he won the welterweight title from Pacquiao in the process.
But what this does is Pacquiao gets a rematch in Australia, and I'm pretty sure Pacquiao's going to maul him. But that's 2 paychecks. Like, if you're Pacquiao, all right, you've already lost to Mayweather. at this point, you're just trying to accumulate funds, right? You're rich. You live in the Philippines. Cost of living there compared to America is very, very low, right? So if you're making 120 American dollars, you are a king. You're a king there, right? So
and he already is a god in the Philippines.
He is.
He is beloved.
He's beloved. He is in the Philippines what like Julio Cesar Chavez was in Mexico years ago. I mean, he really was. So at this point, he's just stacking chips, and who knows what he's going to do with it. But taking that loss, considering he's already taken a loss to Mayweather, not so detrimental. He's still legendary. He'll still be talked about years from now.
Yeah,
it's just,
and not only that, everybody seems to unanimously agree. Hey, Jeff Horn showed a lot of heart, but he should not have won the fight.
Hey, who was that guy who that poor sacrificial lamb that Tyson mauled right out of prison?
Peter McNeely.
Yeah, he had a lot of heart for all of 30 seconds.
Yeah, but he didn't deserve to win the bout. No, Jeff Horn was, basically an Australian Rocky. Except
Rocky was actually good.
I know that.
You know why Sylvester Stallone talks like that? I actually read him. So all right, he has Bell's palsy. He wasn't just born. Like they literally yanked him out of his mom, right? Like take the forceps and they yanked him out. When they did that, they severed a nerve in his face, which is what caused his snarl and everything. So part of his face is paralyzed, which is what led to his look and his speech pattern, which in turn is what made him famous. Shit.
Okay.
I guess. Fucking go. So, yeah. All right.
I mean, but in terms of this Pacquiao fight from last night, I'm sorry, but I've seen cleaner finishes to the Montreal Screwjob. Google it. It's WWE. It's a joke, basically.
Okay. All right. Anyway, yeah, he got robbed.
Robbed is not the word.
He seems to be pretty chill with it, though. So, if you're going to get hit with a shitty situation like this, you need to behave like Manny and be chill and understand that it's an opportunity to stack more chips. That's what
I mean, Manny's okay with it. Manny is cool.
Manny's doing Manny. Manny's being Manny. It's just Manny being Manny.
I don't know if we should use that term.
I did it on purpose because Manny Ramirez is fucking weird.
Manny Ramirez was one of my favorite Red Sox ever.
He's a strange guy.
And he didn't need steroids. But, Manny being Manny was just a reference to, hey, I'm going to go mid-inning into the Green Monster and take a piss break. That's Manny being Manny.
Could you imagine how much better he'd have been if he'd have gave a fuck?
Oh, yeah, he'd have 650 home runs easily. He'd still probably be playing.
But he doesn't, so he's not. And, it's what it is. Well, all right, so...
But Manny Pacquiao being Manny
Pacquiao, who's a different...
he's cool with it. He'll take the fight. He's already exercised his option for a rematch, and he's cool with it being back in Australia. So pick another stadium to sell out. Let's do this.
Yeah,
I'll beat him.
This fight could very well be the end of Horn, though. Fight, Pacquiao. If Pacquiao comes back with a vengeance, if Pacquiao's legitimately feels slighted, he's gonna maul this
first
guy.
Round knockout.
He's gonna maul this guy.
First round knockout.
No, I don't think he's gonna do it in the first round. He's gonna stretch it out to near the end of the fight before he puts him down.
Really? You think he's going to toy with him like a shark toys with chum?
No, I firmly believe that that he has malice in his heart, like anybody else that does boxing.
So he's being sadistic.
Yeah,
why not? He's going to be sadistic with him.
As a Patriots fan, you should be well in tune with the whole sadistic thing, considering the shit you said last week about they would design a place specifically to embarrass you. Come on, man, that's some sadistic shit. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Why would I knock you out in the first when I could fucking beat the shit out of you and totally convince you that you
should have never been in a position to even get a decision?
Right, because at some point you're going to know what I'm doing and you're going to be insulted by it, but you got to keep coming out round after round for me to punch you in the face. It's pretty shitty. I can see Pacquiao doing that. I would like to see Pacquiao doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Because, if he gets knocked out real quick, it's that's a fluke. But if he dominates him without killing him for 10 out of 12 rounds and then just puts him down, it's without a doubt.
A 118 to 110 decision.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a 119, 109, because you could give him one round.
You give him one round. You give him the first round because he was brave enough to come out of the corner.
Yeah, good for you, buddy.
All right, so...
Here's your ass whooping.
Here's your free compliment. Actually, not free. It's not free, but it's passionate. Passionate ass whooping. But, so what you've all been waiting for.
The main event.
The NFC East. Why your division fucking sucks. Sucks ass, right? Fucking sucks.
Sucks harder than a vacuum.
And, Rick Sanchez has got something to say about this, especially, and freaking Q Rick, boom.
You're both pieces of shit. Yeah, I can prove it mathematically. Actually, let me grab my whiteboard.
This is why you suck, and it can be proven mathematically. Rick's right. I can prove this shit mathematically. Fucking to get the whiteboard out.
Yep, you do it.
This is happening. All right, so, look, NFC East is my division. I'm an Eagles fan. Everybody should know I'm a fucking Eagles fan, right? Cowboys can eat a dick. The Washington professional football team, whose name is a racial slur, can eat shit and die. And then the New York football Giants, New Jersey football Giants, can go fucking fuck they can fuck a beehive.
Fuck those motherfucking Giants.
They can go sodomize an anthill. Look, I don't care.
I mean, you know why I don't like the Giants.
You know what? But that's kind of like, I know why you don't like the Giants. I get it. But that second time, y'all had that shit coming.
Oh, hey, fine.
You had the shit
the
coming.
first one, though, we were denied a place in history.
Thankfully so. Because that's the
last.
That's the last shit we needed was you motherfuckers acting like it's bad.
19-0.
Yeah, we don't need that shit.
Right,
anyway, so this is why the division as a whole sucks, right? So one of the things about the NFC East is it's parity. Like it's legitimately parity at its best / worst.
No repeat winners in how long?
Since the Eagles did it in 2004.
Really?
Yeah.
No repeat winners since 2004.
Since the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, there has not been a back-to-back division champ in the NFC East. It has rotated.
Okay.
It's been mostly the Giants, Cowboys, and Eagles. The Washington team slipped in there a couple times.
You sprinkle in a couple there.
Right, just like literally 2. And there's been it really depends on who's hurt. Who's hurt is
the 2015 the Washington professional football franchise division title is probably the least qualified division champion.
Washington wins when the other teams are shit. Washington doesn't win because they're legitimately good. They win
there was
because
a
the other
scenario
teams are
going
bad.
into the end of 2015 where a team could have won that division at 6-10. I think.
Yeah, there actually was, and it actually
was horrible.
There actually was. So if you're one of those Washington fans, just understand that your 2 most recent division wins are not because you were good, but because every other team was literally shit.
You were the least shitty team
You were
in that
the least
division.
horrible team in the division. Not to say you were good, because you were horrible too, but you were the least horrible. So congratulations on that.
I guess. Here's your bucket of shit.
There you go. Here's your first round playoff exit. So, speaking of playoff exits, there hasn't been a playoff win in the division in 5 years. So the fucking cow shits.
They blow a number 1 seed at home to a crippled Green Bay team. What are you talking about here?
Dog, for an offense that's stacked.
They should have torn Green Bay a new asshole.
3/4 of your secondary is out. You got Ezekiel Elliott, the number 1 offensive. Look, we're going to shit on you in particular about this a little bit later. But what the fuck? So either way, 2 of the fan bases for these teams are full on retarded. Like last week I was like, 2 of the fan bases for the AFC semi-retarded. No. 2 of the fan bases for the NFCs are full on retarded. I'm not saying like
bus to a special school and everything.
And I have to make fun of those folks. Not to. But I'm not talking about your savant Rain Man style where you take into account cards. I'm talking about like
stupid.
Yeah, like I'm gonna drink this. Like not like Buffalo where it's like, oh, that's fucking hilarious, but like that's really kind of sad.
Like, why are you ramming your head into the wall?
Like the Giants fan that broke down in tears because the Giants like lost a few years back. Like he was on fucking YouTube and it was like ridiculous. This guy's like, oh, but they're not that fan base. We're talking about of course the Dallas and the Washington people. There's something wrong with you people. There's something fucking wrong with you people.
Yep.
But we'll talk more of that.
Oh, I know. Half my family's Cowboy fans.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. It's interesting to deal with during Thanksgiving. Oh, God.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Do any of them still wear their Emmitt Smith jersey?
No, they've moved on to Des Bryant.
Classy.
Yeah. Classy AF.
Classy as fuck. All right, so also in this division, while no one does it on purpose, every year somebody tanks. Like tanking, you're like, well, tanking's on purpose. Right, it is, but like intentionally, like the Jets are taking on purpose, right? But these teams will make such terrible decisions that they tank and end up getting a high within the first 3 picks for the next round of next year's draft. So the question is, who's it going to be this year? Looking at you, Washington.
Looking at you.
Looking at you. So all right,
yeah, they're going to be a top 3 pick easily.
Of course,
they're 3-13 waiting to happen.
And we're going to tell you why.
Yes, we are.
A little bit later in the show. So, all right. So, let's go over why Dallas sucks, right? So, Jerry Jones is your fucking owner, right? And it's funny, but you know what? you know good and damn well what I'm talking about when I say that, right? You'll fucking never win with him because he's
a genius businessman.
Great businessman. Billionaire. He's made his money. You know, he's
made the Cowboys the most valuable franchise in the NFL.
Yeah, well, one of the most valuable franchises on the planet.
Yes.
They're like number 5 or something like that. They're ridiculously
They're up there with like the soccer teams.
Yeah, they're up there.
Europe.
Like, it was like the Patriots, the Cowboys,
the Yankees.
Yankees. There's
Lakers.
There's like some franchises that are worth like so many billions of dollars.
Manchester United, I think, is the other one.
Yeah, and the Cowboys are. So Jerry Jones was able to do that. He was segueing. I remember the '90s. He had that contract with Nike against the will of the NFL.
Yep.
He's a very powerful owner. But here's the problem, right? He owns your team. He'll tell you he owns a team, and because he'll tell you he owns a fucking team, that he's going to do what he wants. So for the last several years, he's
22.
made terrible personnel decisions.
23,
right?
actually.
While he inherited a coach, he brought us some shit. He fired. Actually, he didn't inherit the coach. He brought in Jimmy Johnson. He let Jimmy Johnson.
That was his only great decision.
His only good decision was letting Jimmy Johnson do his thing, right? But after the success, he fucking had to fall out with Jimmy Johnson, right? So since then, you've kind of been shit, right? You've kind of been shit because Jerry Jones needs to constantly put his will into the team. Like, why the fuck are you on the sideline? You have an owner's box. Get your ass. Like, Tony Romo's back is broken. Why is Jerry Jones evaluating Tony Romo? No, get your ass back out there. Like, fucking seriously? Like,
don't you have football people for this?
Yeah, you pay, I'm pretty sure, a hefty sum to all these professionals who go to school for this one thing, but this is Jerry's team. He's going to do what he wants.
And not to make this about me being a Patriots fan, but that's what I love about Robert Kraft. He sits in the booth, he'll drink his scotch, he'll get hammered, he doesn't come down on the field unless it's a big win.
And understandable, right? But you see Jerry Jones in his locker room at halftime, like trying to hype his boys up. And let's be real, like they love him. The players love him. Like if you're a player for the Cowboys, Jerry Jones has got your back for the most part. But just know that he probably shouldn't have brought you on in the first place because he's a terrible talent evaluator.
Yeah.
All right, so so let's talk about that Green Bay loss. All right, so all right, what were you? 13-3. 13-3. You had home field advantage throughout the playoffs. You had a first round bye. You're the number one seed of the NFC. You host the Green Bay Packers in Dallas in Jerry World, and you have a crippled Green Bay team with
that shouldn't have even beaten the Giants.
Nope, shouldn't have beaten the Giants. If the Giants receivers show up, you end up playing New York, but the Giants receivers didn't show up. So it
was a loss waiting to happen either way because New York had their number. New York beat them twice.
We were all looking forward to that, but it didn't take New York. It took Green Bay. So Aaron Rodgers rolls up, does the Aaron Rodgers thing.
Kudos to you, sir.
Aaron Rodgers does that thing where he comes back at the last minute and wins the game. But let's be real, right? So you have a secondary missing 3 of its 4 starters. You're supposed to have one of the top offenses in the NFL, right? You have
Beast offensive line.
Bestial offensive line. Rookie of the year running back, rookie of the year quarterback. You have Dez Bryant. You have Jason still catching footballs, Witten. You have Cole Beasley in the slot. You have all these players, right? And how did you lose to Green Bay? How did you fucking collapse at home in the playoffs? First time in years you've hosted a playoff game like that, and with all this young talent, and you fucking fall apart. You fall apart. You choked, and that's what you're known for now. Like Tony Romo, he may be gone, but his spirit lives on. Yeah, spirit lives on in Dallas, right? Also, to remind you, Skip Bayless is from Dallas.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah,
even if he puffs up Tom Brady, fuck that guy.
You know, my biggest issue with Bayless is I understand his job, right? The dude's got a job to do, but I'm not a Dallas fan. I really don't like the team, but he had started some rumors in Dallas about Troy Aikman possibly being gay, which all right, it is what it is. But in that time. Yeah. That was a death sentence for a career. Like the U.S. wasn't as accepting of
that was almost as bad as the whole Mike Piazza might be gay thing.
Yeah,
in the early 2000s.
It's truly detrimental, right? It's because the locker room's not ready for it, the nation's not ready for it, the league's not ready for it. So to start that, you have a Hall of Fame quarterback. And
we're still not ready for it. Look what happened to Michael Sam.
Well, Michael Sam just wasn't that good of a football player.
He wasn't a good football player, but he brought that media circus, being like almost Mr. Irrelevant in the draft.
He did. But it's what it is, right? So it's a shame. But that's my issue with Bayless. My issue isn't that he spews garbage; is that he spews at times malicious garbage.
Yeah.
So fuck Skip Bayless. He's from Dallas, and by proxy, fuck Dallas. All right, so let's talk about loyalty, right? So your team, that would be the Cowboys, are about as loyal to the fan base. They're loyal in a way that's very similar to the way Courtney Love was loyal to Kurt Cobain.
Yeah,
and vice versa.
When the money good, you there.
When the money's good, you're there. Like
I mean, I can't say that for my family. They're always sitting on the couch watching the Cowboys every Sunday. And they will hit you very hard if you root against the Cowboys.
So what's interesting is you have a team that's got one of the top 5 fan bases in football. However, not this last season, but the season before last. Oh. About 7 weeks in, I couldn't find a Cowboys fan. I didn't like they were
fickle. Yeah,
they just didn't exist. Like Tony Romo was down. You had who was this backup? Whedon,
they went through a bunch of them.
Whedon, you had Whedon.
Yeah, Brandon Whedon. You had I saw some of these terrible games.
Fucking Cliff Huxtable. Goddamn Danger Mouse came out there.
I think they brought Babe Laufenberg out of retirement.
Rainbow Bright suited up for a couple games.
It was terrible.
Fucking terrible. I don't know who your backup
was.
were.
Terrible football.
It was shit.
Kellen Clemens.
Clement, yeah, he's a goober.
The Boise State quarterback.
Have you seen his? He looks like an absolute goober. Like his face is asymmetrical, so he looks like he was literally just sitting in a back.
He looked like a Picasso painting.
Not like a Picasso painting, but like if you were to try to imagine the most hillbilly of hillbillies, like that would be him. Like piece of wheat in his mouth, overalls with one strap
You ain't
off,
from around here, boy.
No t-shirt, maybe shoes. That's what he looks like.
Sure do got a pretty mouth.
That's what he looks like. But you know, hey, he battling banjos and applesauce, baby. So, also, hey, fun fact and I'm sure you Cowboys fans were not aware of this because none of you have ever really been to Texas or Dallas, and you guys mostly showed up in the '90s when things were good. You've just been hanging out waiting for him because Jerry talks real good. But the only reason you have the designation of America's team is because the Steelers turned down that title in the '70s, right? So they said, Pittsburgh, you guys are really fucking good. You're winning Super Bowls. We want to call you America's team. And Pittsburgh was like, fuck that. We're Pittsburgh team. And so, hey, Dallas, you want to be America's team? And Dallas, still busy eating leftover shit from Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Goes, yeah, we'll take that title. Yeehaw. And so now you obnoxious sons of bitches think you're America's team. And just remember, you were the second choice.
Savage.
So, enjoy that one. Try it on for size.
All right.
Fact check it and let me know. DirtDiggler2023 at gmail.com. Send me the hate mail. If you can, get your spell check turned on. Write it in Word first. Write it in Word first. Because I would say use Chrome, but you guys are probably still using IE because you haven't figured out how to download Chrome yet. So
I'm invoking the mercy rule right now.
No,
with you
you
on
get
Cowboy
they
fans.
get no mercy. You get no mercy. Cowboys fan. You know what you signed up for. You know what you signed up for. So get your spell check going and write me something. I'll excuse grammatical errors, but spelling is inexcusable with spell check being accurate.
Neither is excusable in my book.
Well, English is pretty hard.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the New Jersey Football Giants. And someone's like, but they're the New York Football Giants. And I'm like, okay, when's the last time they actually played in the state of New York? They don't. I've driven past the Snoopy recently. It's a beautiful stadium. It's in New Jersey.
I drove past it this morning.
Right. It's in New Jersey.
Fucking New Jersey.
Right. So you're the New Jersey Giants, and the Jets are the New Jersey Jets, but we don't care enough about them to make fun of them for that reason. So
I mean, seriously, but the Jets are perfect, for
They
New
are
Jersey
the perfect Jersey
because
team.
they're tankers.
They are. That's pretty slick.
Callback joke.
That's pretty slick. I like how you just get a flashback thing. All right, so you suck, man. You guys eat it, and it's because Eli Manning's still your quarterback. Now, but you said Eli Manning was elite, and Eli Manning is elite. But this is what you get with Eli Manning. Eli Manning is playoff elite. Throughout the regular season, you get inexplicable turnovers and dumbass facial expressions. That's like the two constants with Eli Manning.
You gotta love Manning face. Google it. It's a thing.
It's a thing. Like both of them had it. Peyton had it, but Eli's are the best. Now, what I miss was Coughlin turning beet red and exploding on the sideline. I thought he was like one pick away from a stroke at all times. Like, it was great to watch him. He was like, you see him sitting down like he fucking Kemp, like the guy threw the paper boy threw his newspaper, but it landed 2 feet farther than it should. And he's just so frustrated, and that's how Coughlin looks. He's an old man.
He just caught the neighbor's dog taking a shit on his lawn
again. He's just so furious about it because Eli Manning threw a pick at the same time. I miss that. Now
I do miss that.
I do. Now here's the thing. Odell Beckham Jr. Right? I would say he's like probably the third best wide receiver in all of football until the playoffs.
Well, see, and the thing about OBJ for me isn't just that he disappears in the playoffs, the antics. I don't care that you're playing with a goddamn net on the sidelines. I don't.
It's dumb.
It's dumb.
It's dumb. So here's the thing, right? So you have a guy who's got some stability issues, right? He's a physical specimen. He's an absolute monster. He's got good hands when he's thinking about it, but you can take him off his game. I mean, apparently he's got a couple trigger words that if you hit him with those trigger words or do this thing, he unravels.
Josh Norman found that soft spot easily.
I can tell you what it is. It's an F word, but it's got 5 letters. Or 6. 6. It's got 6. Yeah.
6.
It's an F word, It's got 6 letters, and it's a homophobic slur, and that's the word. That's the word that sends him over the edge. And all right, we all have fun with it. It's funny, blah blah blah, with the whole how he behaves on social media, because he has a social media presence, and there's some questionable shit up there. And I've said as much before. Like, personally, I don't care. But if you're a football player and you pride yourself on being a macho guy, and there's nothing, nothing about me that's gay, and then someone, and maybe you're not, who knows, but you're trying to be a tough guy, and then someone calls you on it, and your reaction is to lose your mind. That's not very tough. But here's the problem: Josh Norman did it, and now everyone else knows how to do it. So when you roll into Green Bay, and Green Bay's freaking third-string cornerback is shit-talking you, and your hands vanish because you're no longer mentally available for the game.
How many drops in that game?
Like, look, Eli Manning went to the closet, dusted off his playoff self, pulled him out, wore that shit to the game, and showed up. Eli Manning did exactly what I expect Eli Manning to do in the playoffs. He showed up. And
how many touchdowns did Beckham drop?
He dropped at least 2.
At least 2?
At least 2. So, OBJ, like, the Giants, this is one of the reasons you suck is OBJ's a head case.
Yeah.
Get the guy to a therapist. Seriously, get him to a therapist. Get him balanced out like Brandon Marshall, who's also there, but we'll see how that works out. Maybe he'll...
That might actually benefit him.
That might actually benefit him to be in there. But right now, as of right now, dude's a head case, and that's why you suck. So, talking about also... Your coach looks like he just got done pulling valet duty before the game. That guy...
He looks like the guy that cleans the toilets to me.
He's the combination of his body type, face, mustache, and hair are just... It's like all the fucking worst styles, all like... He's like a throwback to like the 80s, like 3 different eras of things. None of them match, all on one person. Like, all right, so peanut butter, pretty cool, right? Mayonnaise, at times, pretty cool. Peanut butter mayonnaise sandwich, not so much. Oh, you guys hear that? You guys hear that? I think my dog's a Giants fan. I might have to put him down. I'm kidding. I would never do that. I love my dogs. So, Ben McAdoo, they're back. I let the dogs out. So, if you're asking who the dog's out, Kenny actually let the dogs out. Like, this is a joke you're talking about. No, Kenny actually just let the dogs out. Like, he let the fucking dogs out.
I say you leave that in.
Maybe. Either way, look.
It's a shitty sports show.
McAdoo, fucking Ben McAdoo does not invoke confidence when I look at him. He could be a great coach, and he runs a pretty basic offense for what it stands for, but it just, like, I look at him and I think, the shitter's clogged, and I need you to go take care of it.
Yeah.
I don't think genius head coach.
I think 9-7, 10-6 tops. That's his ceiling.
He's but hey, he's the heir apparent to Coughlin, who absolutely fucking hates the organization now.
Yes.
He hates the owners. But
they got railroaded.
Let's talk about the biggest reason why your organization is a giant lump of steam and shit. Your kicker. You're a fucking kicker? A goddamn kicker? Your kicker fucking engaged in a years-long domestic abuse of his fucking, at times, pregnant wife. He terrorized this woman for fucking years. And you welcome this sack of shit back onto your team. You fucking welcomed him. And
not only that, they were aware of the incidents with NFL security.
They were totally fucking aware of what this guy was up to, right?
She feared for her life and begged for help, and the NFL and the Giants swept it under the rug.
Yep. All right, it's inexcusable. Kicker. It's inexcusable for anyone to ever do that. I don't give a fuck what your job is, right? I don't
You
care.
could be cleaning toilets at the stadium with Ben McAdoo.
You can't put your hands on your lady.
No.
Don't do it. Fucking, you don't understand how, like, I'm totally against anyone ever doing that. Keep your hands, kindergarten rules, keep your hands to your fucking self. But this guy engaged in physical, mental, verbal abuse to his wife in front of their children. He was the worst. He was fucking Ike Turner. He was Ike Turner.
And they paid him.
And they paid him. They welcomed him back. And if the police
they made excuses for him.
If the police report hadn't gotten leaked, he would still be on that team today.
Yeah.
They were so up shit's creek when that shit broke that they had to cut him. Like, I guess now we got to cut him so we can pretend to be serious about this shit.
It was like the elevator video.
It was like the elevator. Yeah, it was actually just like the elevator video, and the fact that
damn it, they got
everybody knew what happened. Everyone wanted to pretend nothing was big about it until the media found out. Then it was like, we got to do something. The elevator deal was handled ultimately, worse. Mm-hmm. Because they actually adjudicated it and then came back and like, we're going to just, blackball this guy. But they just pretended like nothing really happened. Like, it was like a 1-game suspension. 1 fucking game for what really, all right, both
if anybody deserved to be blackballed.
I'm pretty sure like he's a
Josh
kicker.
Brown.
He's a kicker. We probably we'll never see him again. And that's it's what it is.
Yeah, but it's 3-4 years too late.
But the Giants They played that poorly, and that's ultimately why your team fucking sucks. Giants. It's
I mean,
because
for esteemed owners like the Maras to have been condoning this.
The Maras are one of the 3 most powerful owners in the NFL. Like, and they condone this shit, which is
I mean,
probably why it happened. Was because the Maras had the power to make it happen.
Yeah.
They look. You sell your soul for a couple fucking wins, I guess. Whatever. So let's talk about the Washington Professional Football Team, right? I know, I've been avoiding it. I've been avoiding saying it all day, but I'm gonna say it just so I can beep it out. Enjoy that beep. Beep. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So,
right.
you guys are gonna be terrible this year.
You just got another beep.
But I'm gonna beep it though. You had 2 1,000-yard receivers leave, right? And then you replace them with a converted quarterback out of Cleveland, who's a project still. Now, look, Pryor is physically a opposing guy. He's not a finished product though. He's not at the level I think he needs to be to compete in this division.
He's an okay possession receiver in the making.
Right now, but his stats from Cleveland. All right, say that back to yourself again, but slowly. His stats from Cleveland. Who the fuck else was catching footballs in Cleveland? No one.
No.
That's all you get. So,
Gary Barnage, that's about it.
Yeah, and he didn't show up for a couple games.
No, he didn't.
No,
I mean, he was catching a football with his butt, but that's about it.
You
remember that?
Gotta be famous for something. So, all right. Also, you have Josh Doxson, who was hurt for most of last year, so didn't get to see the field. He's your first-round pick from last year. Bottom line is, he's a question mark.
Yeah,
he's a question mark. Like, so does he have what it takes to compete in this division? Does he? I don't know. We're gonna find out. Well, you're going to find out because you have to deal with that. Dan Snyder's your owner.
Yeah.
Another reason you suck is because, once again, Dan Snyder is your owner. Let me say it again.
Yeah.
For Dan Snyder
is your owner.
And
I mean, like, there's another reason why they suck, and I believe it's, Dan Snyder is your owner.
So, yeah. All right. And because Dan Snyder is your owner, and because he can't leave well enough alone, like Jerry Jones, for all his meddling. And I said it last year, I'll say it again this year. For all of Jerry Jones' meddling, he's actually fairly,
he's produced legitimate results in the 20 years since.
And he's charismatic. So you're like, well, okay, Jerry Jones, I'd party with Jerry Jones.
Dan Snyder is a sniveling little weasel.
I wouldn't party with Dan Snyder. Like, I wouldn't just...
he'd look at us and be like, why are the poors here?
I wouldn't want to be around that guy. I've heard stories about people who worked around him. He's an intolerable human being. He's truly a terrible human being. Right, but because he's such a shit human... He had to somehow generate some ridiculous power struggle between the GMs, which led to like one of the top, if not the top, talent evaluator in the NFL getting shit canned in the most unceremonial way. You kick off that he's an alcoholic, that he's back in the bottle and all this other shit. You bar him from the grounds of the state. You fire him like you don't let him go to the combine. It was like a bunch of weird shit happening.
Yeah, Scott McClellan did not deserve.
He did not deserve any of those things, and he actually played it pretty cool because Deadspin was tracking him. He was going everywhere in full Redskins gear, full Redskins sweats. He was everywhere, going shopping at Whole Foods, and he's just out there. And I thought it was great because he knew what was up. Now here's the thing, right? Dan Snyder, one of the things that he does is if you quit, he doesn't have to pay you, but if he fires you, he's got to pay out the remainder of that contract. That's right. So that's why if you look at how he handles things, he will publicly embarrass you because he controls all the media down there. He will publicly embarrass you to the point where you just leave, and so he saves money. Except this guy's like, nah,
you're gonna pay me.
I know what you do. You're gonna pay me because he did nothing wrong. The players all came to his defense like, no, he's not on a bottle. Dudes, we love him, and the players are sitting there like, so this is what you're gonna do. So if you're a player in DC, you got to be wondering like, what the fuck's going on, because your success can never be sustained because of shit like this. Yeah, like no other franchise deals with this shit except for. No, not even the Browns at this point. No.
Jimmy Haslam, not so much.
Not so much. Jimmy Haslam has bad hiring. He doesn't hire well, but he doesn't. He doesn't create controversy. Like he doesn't create that. He's a dirtbag, yes, but he doesn't not like Snyder. Snyder's weird. Like he's weird about it. But yeah, whatever. Like say, if you
an ownership group that has that kind of bumbling incompetence, I can't think of it.
I can't think of one either. Like the Jets, maybe.
Well, the owner of the Jets is too busy being an ambassador right now in the Trump administration.
Hey, well, everyone's got a side hustle.
Good for him. He bought it.
Everyone's got a side hustle. So, either way, just understand that power struggle marks the beginning of what could have been in D.C. because the team was, with McGloin, you guys were accumulating some good, solid talent, and you guys were becoming dangerous. And now that he's gone, you can see pieces are vanishing. You're going to have we're going to get to the pieces you're going to lose in the future, but it's not good. You guys are going to be back at the bottom of the division, and it's going to be left to, if you ever win a division again in the next 5-6 years, it'll be because everyone else simply lost it.
Yeah.
So, also,
played your hand terribly, though.
Oh God, Kirk Cousins. So hey, Kirk Cousins comes out. Let's pay this guy. Hey, let's not pay this guy. Let's let him make us. Let's make him show us.
Let's like did they franchised him 2 years in a row?
Well, they franchised him the first time, right? When they had an opportunity, but they said,
Yeah.
Kirk, we want you to show us. And Kirk, so we're gonna franchise you with the show me deal. And he said, okay. So he showed
did
him.
it.
And so you had the how you like that and all the other stuff, and they were like, wow, you really showed us. We like a long term deal, but Kirk was like, but no, I think I'm worth more. And they said,
he was right.
I think you need to show me again. And so he came back out and he showed him again. And so now, if you franchise him a third time, he makes like 32 or 33 million, which is more than anyone makes. And so
If you're paying him that much now, you've got to pay him that much in the future.
here's the deal: Kirk Cousins is gone. Right, even without you guys liquidating your receiving core, even without your internal power struggle just for the sake of having one, Kirk Cousins is going to walk probably to Frisco, who's got tons of money, and his favorite
Kyle
OC,
Shanahan.
and his favorite OC is the head coach. So if I'm Kirk Cousins, seeing how you're running this team, I'm bugging out. Like Kirk Cousins is honestly a boring human being, but he's a cool dude. I'm bugging out. I don't deserve this. No one deserves this shit.
Yeah.
Later. Now, if they do pay him, this because they're backing up the Brinks truck to the stadium to unload all the money he's going to get. He's going to get a ridiculous amount of money if he stays, but they don't have the space.
Well, they don't have the space, and not only that, but at this point, given what you've seen from this organizational culture, if you're Kirk Cousins,
Yeah, you got to.
why would you even do it?
I mean, he plays the company line as well as anybody else. He says all the things he needs to say about the franchise. He won't rock the boat because he knows that Snyder controls the media and that Snyder will silence him and all the other shit. So he does what he's got to. Like I say, he's a boring dude, so he's not going to get in front of cameras and run his jibs like that. That's not who he is. Never going to be who he is. But he's bugging out. He's not gonna express his unhappiness. He's just gonna chuck the deuces and roll on. And they have no recourse. They're not gonna get anything for him. They can't trade him because he's not on contract. He's franchised. You can't trade him. So the Washington team will get nothing back in return for Kirk Cousins. He's simply gonna walk. So you have that to look forward to. And I don't believe you drafted his replacement. So have fun with that.
Yeah.
Also, Jordan Reed, man, look,
Yeah.
all right, so yes, I'm an Eagles fan, and I absolutely despise the other three teams in the division. But as a human being, as a person who's played the game, as a person who's had multiple concussions, Jordan Reed's situation scares the shit out of me. And so does Sua Cravens, but Jordan Reed in particular scares me because he's had so many concussions.
Yeah.
He's up to 6 now, I want to say, 6, and the guy keeps suiting up. So at what point does Jordan decide to just walk away with his brain still intact, or is this guy going to be showing symptoms of CTE?
On the field,
In his early 30s,
Yeah.
are we going to see this guy unravel in real time really soon?
Yeah.
It's one thing to have, like, for every concussion you get, it's easier to get another one. And this guy is constantly getting concussions, and he's good. He's going back out there, and he's a phenomenal player. But sometimes you got to walk away. So, like, Sua Craven's concussion was so bad he had to wear glasses because his eyes wouldn't track properly without him. So you have that, and then you have Jordan Reed. So
Jordan Reed. I mean, I've watched Jordan Reed since high school.
he's a monster.
Yeah, I mean, when he was playing for the New London Whalers, same high school that produced Chris Dunn in the NBA, by the way.
Hey.
Yeah, shout out. East Coast Conference. Yeah, Eastern Connecticut Conference. Excuse
Eastern
me.
Connecticut.
Yeah, but like, we don't produce many pros, okay?
It's a small place, but
I've watched him play since high school. I've watched him play in college. I've enjoyed watching him play. He would rip my alma mater to shreds.
But
high
that's
school.
what you do.
Yeah,
I mean, it's what
he's
you
a
do.
freakishly talented human being, and I would like to see him be able to continue to do that on the field if the CTE isn't affecting him.
And that's the problem. That CTE doesn't normally set in until you're well done with your playing career.
Yeah, and,
right?
and I'd also like him to be able to enjoy life after the NFL.
And that's the thing, right? That's the thing.
At some point, you got to step away.
At some point, you got to walk away.
You
right?
do.
At some point, you got to walk away. And Jordan Reed's situation legitimately scares me. And he's probably going to go down again this year and leave a huge hole in your
God,
receiving
I hope
core.
not.
And that's another reason why you fucking suck. All
Be
right.
safe, Jordan.
Be safe out there, bud. Even though I want you to lose every game.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
can
want
live-
you to do it with a concussion.
We're not that vindictive
I
here.
will settle for a knee injury, but not a concussion.
Yeah, we're not that vindictive here at the Shitty Sports Show.
No, we're like that. That's not terrible. So, my Eagles. All right, look, I saved us for last, and I'm sure that you guys are gonna be like, no, the Eagles suck for more than that, and you're probably right. Like I said last week, if you feel like I missed something, feel free, right? But the Eagles. So the quarterbacks are like really bad. Like I was looking for that picture of Bradley Fletcher when it was just a piece of toast was burned, and it's like and it had in quotation marks cornerback. Like, okay. Well, we're not too far from those days still. Like, that was a couple of years ago. We haven't really changed. Quarterback's still a huge problem. We went and drafted a couple dudes. One of them's got a blown Achilles. We won't see him until next year, which is cool. But let's be real. This year, we're going to look bad. Like, the guys we have are really competitive, which means, I guess... That's
a buzzword you use to say they kind of suck.
Yeah, they really go out there and compete. Like, the fuck does that... Did they win? Because that's what I'm talking about. Like, you can compete all you want. Like, I can go compete with a pro boxer, but he's probably going to whoop my ass every time. So, competing is not about it. I mean,
it's a stretch to even describe Jalen Mills and Patrick Robinson as starters.
Well, yeah, it is a stretch. So we're going to be pretty bad in a division that's stacked with receivers.
I see them getting lit up a lot by the head case in New Jersey.
Jersey, he plays in Jersey.
Yeah.
So, well, we'll see. Like
it's going to be a tough.
The quarterbacks are a mess. Either way, it doesn't matter. Because Jim Schwartz is probably going to walk anyway after he puts the defense together and get another head coaching gig. Like Jim Schwartz has been a coach, right? He's been a head coach. He's been around for the league for a while, so he
turned
knows.
Around an 0-16 team. He's got the chops to do it.
Right. Now, here's the thing: we were worried last year, early in the season, that he was going to walk because the defense was so dominant. The problem is now it doesn't look like it's going to slow down. That defense looks is going to it's going to get really good. If he leaves, that means the concepts that we're drafted behind will go with him, which means that we'll have players who are out of place again the same way Brandon Graham was out of place when they switched to a 3-4. Brandon Graham is a knuckle in the dirt defensive end for a 4-3 defense. You try to convert him to an outside linebacker. He's not an outside linebacker. He's a goddamn defensive end. They're different. Yeah. So he never did well.
You need that consistency on the defense to make them grow.
Right. So that I see that shit happening again. Like, you're going to have another philosophical change in defense. All this talent, which you're paying shit tons of money for, is going to go to waste, and we suck because of that. Because Schwartz... I don't trust him. I don't trust Schwartz to stay. I don't at all trust Schwartz
how many
to stay
coordinators' job has he had since he lost the Lions job?
2. He had the Lions job.
He had the Bills job.
Bills, and from Bills he went to Philly. Yeah, they got rid of him because Rex Ryan showed up and makes bad decisions, and now he's in Philly.
Yeah, we covered that last week.
Yeah. Oh my God. So, hey, look, as a Philly fan, I know we're terrible, allegedly. Like, you guys booed Santa Claus. And
you threw batteries at Santa.
And we'll do it again, you fuck around. we own the whole, like, bad fan thing. Like, the obnoxious bad fan thing. We own it. We love it. We enjoy it. And then when
you guys get off on that.
We kind of do. We kind of do. But even with that having said, for those of you who watched the NFL draft in Philly, the draft party shindig thing, there was a Drew Pearson got on the stage, his old Cowboys receiver, man, and he absolutely owned us on that stage.
And the louder the boos got, the more he loved it.
He really dug his heels in on Philly,
You should just play that clip.
God, you know what? No, I don't want to play it. I don't want to play it because it's embarrassing. I tell you what, look. You guys go to YouTube and you find the Drew Pearson clip, and he Goodell introduces him, second round pick for the Cowboy, and he starts it off, and it gets to a point where he's like 5-time world champion, and
rattling off great Cowboys of the past.
God, the crowd,
the boos get louder and louder.
And you know what?
I've never heard boos that loud.
He totally owned that crowd. He owned that crowd.
Palm of his hand
in Philly. Like, come on, man, you guys, Philly Eagles fans, come on. We let an old rickety cowboy come into our city and shit on us from a stage with a mic and everything.
Oh, no, he didn't just shit on you guys. He took a dump in your mouths.
It was pretty bad.
It was brutal.
I'm gonna go cry now.
That was the best troll job I've seen.
It was good.
Well,
it was good. No, it was
one
good.
of the best troll jobs.
Look, for the draft, for that new format, that was a damn good troll job. Like, for a person from 2-3 generations ago who may not know trolling as trolling, he trolled the shit out of Philly.
I mean, it wasn't quite for me, like Kevin Falk wearing a Brady jersey on the stage trolling Goodell.
Nice.
yeah. The New England Patriots and Tom Brady. That was a great troll job.
Yeah. But trolling Goodell, though, is like...
Okay, yeah, everybody does. That's taking candy from
it really is
a sleeping baby.
From a baby with no hands that's asleep. So yeah, but the Drew Pearson absolutely fucking owned Philly fans, and that's kind of sucks, because of that. So Carson Wentz. All right, look, the
sophomore slump,
Ginger Jesus, as they call him in Philly, or Wentzylvania, or the Wentz wagon, or whatever colorful euphemism that people have fucking shit out for this kid. He's going to throw a shit ton of picks this year. He shouldn't, but he will. And he will because
Yeah, I'm sorry. He doesn't have Chicago and Cleveland on the schedule.
Jeffrey's going to get hurt. Jeffrey's going to get hurt. He's going to get hurt, and
your number one receiver cannot be Nelson Aguilar.
Oh, and no, won't. No, man, it won't. But our true number one is probably going to go down because Carson forced a bad pass to him. So look for more picks than last year. So Wentz could regress. Well, this is the year that we're going to find out what Wentz is made of, but it could very well go wrong. And if it goes wrong, that means that the Eagles will have lost significant draft capital, and the future is pretty much in question for the next several years, right? Because you get another few years out of him with a rookie deal, and do you settle for him, or do you purge him and move on and let someone like New England pick him up and make him into the next, or Green Bay pick him up and make him into the next damn Aaron Rodgers? So. We'll see, right? But yeah, the Eagles, like, the NFC East fucking sucks for like a variety of reasons. Like, you can sit here and take apart this division because it's like, it's such a mediocre division. Like, it's like, the games are entertaining because everyone equally sucks, but they suck in different ways. So how can they exploit their differences in suckage? Because, like, what was it? The Eagles beat the Giants beat the Cowboys beat the Washington team, and Washington beats the Eagles. That's how it works. That's how it works right now. It's like no one owns the division. You can say, well, what about the Cowboys? Fuck the Cowboys. They didn't do shit. They had a soft schedule last year.
Yeah,
Fuck
I mean, they lost 2 games to the Giants.
They lost to the Giants.
Wait a minute, didn't they also lose to the Eagles?
They did, but that was a garbage game where they set up.
So actually, the Cowboys, despite being 13-3,
all 3 losses came inside the division.
3-3, yeah, they're 500 in the division.
Yeah. Math says that. That's the math.
I just mathed.
That's the math. For those of you who are unaware, that's math. So math. So all right, as I say every week, where there's hate, there's hope, right? So let's be honest about this, right? The Cowboys, they have a very talented nucleus. They have some really good players. You have 2 of the youngest stars on that team with Ezekiel Elliott and Dakota Prescott. His actual name is his name is
Dakota.
No, his real name is Rain Dakota Prescott. It's Rain with a Y, Rayne.
I see why he goes with Dak.
He goes by Dak. Yeah, and he looks like a genuine. Like, Ezekiel Elliott's probably going to get suspended, but because he's got an investigation for some misconduct,
right?
And then he pulled out some woman's boob during a parade, and there's like stuff, and I don't know what's going to happen. NFL, remember, the NFL can punish you just because, but
yeah,
Jerry Jones. So let's make believe that they're not going to suspend him for all the things that he's done. But Dak is kept his nose clean, and he's doing the good things that he needs to do. But those 2 guys, they have a decade plus of time they're going to have together in Dallas.
That's a great foundation.
That's a great foundation.
You add in Des Bryant, and that's, Des Bryant's got about 5 years ahead of them, but they've got a lot of time together.
They got a lot of time together.
And that O-line is beast-like.
Jerry has stepped back. His son is doing the drafting now, and his son's much better than he is, so it's a little bit of a concern for me that they start drafting smart. But like I said, if you're a Dallas fan, you have a reason to hope.
Did his son draft Dak?
Yeah. His son did draft Dak. So it's
they've already gotten better.
You gotta have hope in that. Like, you guys did well last year. You probably won't do as well this year, but you're still going to do good. You're in running for the division. The division is going to be between 3 teams, and you're one of them. So
why does New Jersey have hope?
New Jersey has hope because Old Man Eli is Old Man Eli, and he shows up. He's always there. Like, if you need Eli Manning to show up, he'll show up.
Yeah.
And that's why I would say, like, Eli is elite because he is so clutch. If you need a fucking helmet throw, the plaques, the
Manningham catch.
Manningham, like, the guy he makes it happen. Like, if the receivers show up in Green Bay, they win that game. But the receivers didn't because Eli sure as shit was putting the ball exactly where it had to be. He was putting in some very small windows.
Yeah, it was not Eli's fault they lost that game, and it pains me to say that.
Not at all Eli's fault. Now, Eli, does he need a great defense in order to get to the playoffs? He does. Mm-hmm. But once he gets there, Eli can put up numbers. So as long as he's there,
Eli shows up on the big stage.
Look, as long as they have Eli Manning in Jersey, in the Giants franchise, they have a chance to win that game. Like, they do.
Can you believe this is his 14th season?
God, he hasn't missed a game?
I know, right?
He hasn't missed a game. The guy, I've seen him get pummeled. The Eagles in particular have pummeled him.
Oh, yeah. His NFL debut was particularly satisfying for you, I bet.
Yeah, they had to power drive him through the turf. So, all right. So, moving on. If you're a Washington fan, just give up hope. You guys are going to suck ass this year.
Take up croquet.
Become a Ravens fan.
Yeah, it's a short trip across.
Root for the Ratbirds. I'm not going to blame you. In fact, I will because fuck the Ratbirds. But your team's, at least I can say the name on the air. Ratbirds. So, all right.
Hey, we'll get to them.
Yeah, take up knitting or some shit. Like, fucking cook exotic foods or something.
Find something else to occupy your Sundays except for the
misery
to replace
that
the
is.
misery that you would be subjecting yourself to by watching this absolute dumpster fire of a franchise.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad. So the Eagles, all right. So the Eagles have had a couple good drafts now, 2 years in a row. At least that's how it looks right now on paper. As a draft, this year's draft looks very solid. And the offseason, the free agency signings have been good.
Yeah,
and the offensive line looks like one of the best in the NFL right now. You got a Hall of Famer with Jason Peters, who's just got extended, so he's got another year or two left before Lane Johnson slides over to the left. Then you have Isaacson Mayala, whatever his name is, who's capable of playing any position in the offensive line. He's a capable right tackle as well. You have, like, they just were able to get a bunch of good players on prove-it deals and short deals. So this season looks to be fairly bright for Philly. So of the three teams in the running, we're looking at, New York or New Jersey, Philly, and Dallas as being the teams that can take that division. Because really, like I said, parity. It's fucking parity. Yeah. So no one has it on lock.
Yeah. And I mean, Peterson's a solid offensive coach. He'll make them better.
Yeah, he's solid.
In theory.
He's solid.
And you got blunt force trauma.
Yeah, so
enjoy it.
We are going to, because those short yardage, we couldn't pick up a lot of short yardage last year. Like 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. We couldn't get those. And so with him, we look to get those. So
when it's like,
and to be honest with
goal,
you,
man, give it to him.
And to be honest, as bad as Washington's going to be this year, they're going to show up for the divisional games. They're going to show up against Dallas. They're going to show up against Philly. They show up. Now, they may not win the games, but I know right now that the Skins have owned Philly for the last couple years. That could change. But, I mean, like, if you're going to pick a division to watch outside of your own, NFC East. Not for the sake that teams are excellent, but because the games will be very, very entertaining. Very, very, very entertaining.
Very entertaining.
So let's segue. What's my bottle opener, man? Oh, here it is right here. Okay, hold on. Gonna pop this bad boy open. Oh shit! I dropped it. There you go.
How do we? Now it's time to enjoy the shitty beer of the week.
Shitty beer of the week. So I have Harpoon Camp Wanamango, crisp, tropical, refreshing pale ale with mango. It's a summer brew. Apparently the brewery was established in 1986. That's what the label's telling me, and a bunch of other shit. So I'm gonna give this 5% alcohol. Nice standard alcohol percentage. I'm gonna give this a swig. Hold on.
Oh, I was drinking those during the show. Those are great.
Oh, yeah. So, here's the deal. The question is always, can I drink this during the game? The answer is yes. Yes, you can. I would recommend it. Now, for some of you who are put off by fruit beers, all right, you may not like it. It does have some mango flavor to it. It is a mango-flavored beer, but it's not overpowering. It's not like it's a bunch of syrupy mango sweetness and then beer on the back end. The mango is there. It's subtle. It's drinkable. Yeah. This is a good drinkable beer. Like, this beer is refreshing, right? If you've never had a fruit beer and you're like, I'm a little curious, but I don't want to sound, So, try this one. Like, this one's not bad at all.
Yeah.
It's not super strong. I used to brew. I want to get back. I used to brew beer. Shit I used to brew, but the fruit was like 8-9%. It'll fucking put you down. This is not like that. This is very clean. It's got a good taste. It's a good taste. So you can drink these during the game. It's like drinking a Miller Lite or a Budweiser. As far as its percentages, a little higher. But you can drink them casually. You don't have to worry about too much. They don't sit on your palate. They're not going to ruin foods for you. It's good for the heat. It's great for the season. So the Harpoon Camp Wanamango, hey, go for it. Try it out. What you got there, Ken?
I got the Flying Dog Numero Uno Agave Cerveza. It's brewed with agave nectar and with lime zest added. And again, this is another one of those beers. It's got subtle fruit flavor. It goes down smooth. 4.9% alcohol. Definitely a game drinker. And not too heavy of a lager for the summer either. I like this. It's it's a very smooth, not heavy beer.
Right. I've been drinking. I had a couple of them earlier, and over here, like, how much alcohol do you guys drink during the show? Lots. Lots. Like, a lot.
How do you think we do a shitty sports show?
That's why it's so shitty. 1, we have no budget, and 2, we drink a lot when we do the show.
And 3, we barely fact check ourselves.
Barely.
Barely.
We're counting on you guys to get infuriated and go, that's fucking bullshit, and then actually write an email to us.
That's how I became a part of the show.
Exactly how we became a part of the show. I'm glad he's here. But yeah, so those beers, look, if you see them in the store, all right, so Flying Dog's a local Maryland brewery. And so if you're in the area and you see it, pick it up, right? Pick up the Numero Uno Agave Cerveza in particular is pretty good.
I'm surprised mildly that doesn't have any Old Bay seasoning in it, being a product of Maryland.
Oh, no, they do have an Old Bay beer.
I'm sure they do.
They have one with Old Bay in it.
By the way, I finally had Old Bay seasoning in cream cheese, no less.
How did that go?
actually went down rather well with coffee.
Did it?
Oh, yeah. Huh. I liked it.
Huh.
Yeah.
You may be cut from Maryland after all. How about that shit? Can't beat that with a bat. So, all right. So, we're going to do it, right? We're going to do it. Ken, strap yourself in. Get your helmet, mouthpiece, fucking headgear, body armar.
Let's do this.
Jacket, safety boots, motherfucking hot take of the week. The hot takes of the week. Takes. 2 takes. Takes. We're going to start off with Kenny. Kenny, what's your shitty hot take of the week?
Well, my shitty hot take is based on what I've seen in NBA free agency so far, and we still have a lot more to get through that on that front. But based on what I saw yesterday, Houston is going to win more games next season than Golden State.
Wow.
You know, and there's a couple of reasons I base that on. And the acquisition of Chris Paul running the offense, that's going to be an interesting thing. A D'Antoni offense, a high-powered offense. Not only that, there's got to be a little bit of drop-off with Golden State next year. And I'm not saying it's going to be a lot of wins.
But
it could be like, I
I
think Houston could win 64.
And you think Golden State win like, what, 62? That'd be like
63. Well, it'd be like the Cavs this
It'd be
year.
within 5 games, huh?
Yeah, like one.
One or 2 games?
Well, like what happened with the Cavs and the Celtics this year.
Yeah, all right, well, okay. But the Cavs literally took time off. Like, they just stopped playing basketball because the playoffs are coming. And they knew they were going to freaking juggernaut through the playoffs, so they didn't have to put it on the line. They allowed their guys to rest.
Yeah, and we've seen what a fully healthy Golden State can do in the playoffs. They dominate.
So, all right, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Now, that is an interesting take. That is interesting. So you think that the Golden State Warriors are going to rest their players, which is going to cause them to, at the end, lose
the number one seed in the Western Conference.
Yep, lose the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, which won't matter, which they know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and not only that, it could result in better matchups for them, and it could be an incentive to do so.
They're still going to have to play Houston.
Oh, they're going to bust all the way through, and then we're going to have an interesting conference finals.
No, we won't. It won't be interesting. It'll be the same fucking 2 teams that have been in the last 3 years.
I mean, I don't know.
We'll see. There's no.
It's going to be fun. It'll go at least 6.
Okay, I'll agree with that. So, all right, my shitty hot take of the week. For those of you who watch the footy ball, there's a cornerback in Denver, Aqib Talib, right? He's a fucking psychopath.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, what was it, a couple years ago, last offseason, he shot himself in the leg, coming out of a strip club, and he was so allegedly drunk he didn't know who shot him. Like, it was really like, so do you know who shot you, sir? And he was like, I don't know. Like, first of all, the guy's packing in the club, which is a problem to itself. Now, he's a psychopath.
Yeah.
Talented football player. He's kind of a guy you want because he's going to do all the terrible, dirty things to somebody that you want to do to set the tone, right? But he's going to end up shooting somebody else. Like, I'm not saying, like,
I mean, to me, Talib is so crazy. Get this. Like, remember the AFC title game a couple of years ago, 2013, when he was still with the Patriots?
Yeah.
Welker goes low on him. Dirty block. Who does he sign with? Denver.
starts punishing him in practice. Huh?
Yeah, but because he was just that crazy. Yeah.
He's a psychopath. So my thing is this: knowing he's a psychopath and knowing this guy has a penchant for drinking heavily and packing firearms. And, yeah, of course he's from Texas. So he's probably liable to really get into some serious shenanigans. Now, I hope he doesn't, but there's a good chance that this season, Aqib Talib will shoot someone and it won't be himself. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I hope it doesn't happen. But the guy has got all the traits you would need.
He's a loose cannon.
He's out of control. He's a loose cannon. Riggs is a loose cannon. So, all right. So that's the show, man. That's the show. Ken, it's always a pleasure to have you.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
All right, you got any parting words, sir?
Yeah, I do. Wubba lubba lub dub!
Wubba lubba dub dub. Rick and Morty season 3 starts on July 30th. For those of you who watch, I'm pretty excited about this.
I am too.
I'm really excited about
really.
this. But
I just want to see Pickle Rick.
Pickle Rick. So hey, check it out. Look, as always, look, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. Everyone, thank you for listening in to Dirt Diggler Shitty Sports Show with Dirt and the Dork. That's Ken from Connecticut. Until otherwise stated. So it's been real, it's been fun, and it's been real fun. Ken and Dirt Diggler out.